Howdy guys, Radio Magic here. I hope you're all having a fantastic morning, day or evening, whatever you're up to and wherever you are. Today we're going to be running through some best of one historic, and this list has been so much fun to play. So before I get into the list, there's going to be some timestamps in the description down below in case you want to skip over the deck tech. But essentially I'm going to go through the deck tech, but if you want to go straight onto the games, go into the description now, check out them timestamps and jump into whichever game you feel like jumping into. But like I said, this deck has been absolutely fantastic to play. It's been doing really well in historic best of one. There's a reason we're playing best of one historic instead of best of three as well, and we'll get into that in just a minute. But essentially it's a combo list built around a new card or a reprint that's just been released in Kaladesh Remastered with Paradox Engine. Paradox Engine is a 5-mana artifact, legendary artifact, that whenever you cast a spell you get to untap all non-land permanents you control. So you don't untap your lands, but there is a way in this list that we can generate essentially infinite mana, and it's very difficult to stumble. And the second part of the combo is Mystic Forge. Mystic Forge is a 4-mana artifact that lets us look at the top card of our library at any time, and then we may cast artifact spells and colourless spells from the top of our library. And then, for example, if we had a land on top of our library that we couldn't cast, we can pay 1 life, tap the Mystic Forge, and exile the top card of our library. So you may be asking yourself right now, how do you go infinite with these two cards? And essentially it's around our mana rocks in the list. So we have a ton of mana rocks. We have Guardian Idols, Mind Stones, Power Stone Shards, and Hedron Archives. And then we have Forsaken Monument, and we're going to go over them a little bit more in a minute. But essentially, if we have down a load of mana rocks, or even 2 or 3, and we have Mystic Forge and Paradox Engine in play, whenever we cast a spell, we get to untap all of our permanents, so we can float all of our colourless mana, cast a Mind Stone, for example, untap all of our permanents, and then we get to float it all and just continue the process over and over again. There's also a few tricks you can get onto with Mystic Forge to make sure you don't stumble as well. It's all to do with being in full control, but we'll get onto that in a minute. So like I said, the reason we're running in best of one instead of best of three as well, mainly for our sideboard. So I'll go over to the sideboard in detail in a minute, but essentially it's a one-off sideboard. It's a toolbox sideboard, so we can jump and get whatever tool we require at whatever time, whatever sort of necessary to grab. And there's definitely some games in this list where you grab something and like Grafdigger's Cage and it just shuts down your opponent completely, especially in best of one. It can be a turn 3 or turn 4, just lock your opponent out of the game. And we do that with Khan, the Great Creator. So I'll go over the list real quick, and I assume if you're still here listening to this, then you want me to go over all the cards. So I'll go over them and sort of explain their role in it, though a lot of them are self-explanatory. So we have 4 Guardian Idols, and essentially this is paired with Mind Stone on the 2-drop slot. Essentially we need a bit of 2-mana ramp. This 2-mana ramp is really essential in this list. Guardian Idol fills a slightly different role to Mind Stone in the fact that it can become a 2/2. So if our opponent's building up quite a board state and they don't have tramplers, we can animate the Guardian Idol and throw it in the way of a creature, for example, an Ajani's Pridemate that's becoming really big, just to buy us a turn, which is really, really important. Like I said, that's paired. It does enter tapped as well, which is relevant from time to time. And this is paired with Mind Stone as well. Mind Stone does something slightly different and allows us to draw a card. So if we're running low on cards, we've got a load of ramp, for example, we could sacrifice the Mind Stone and... Sorry about that. Sacrifice the Mind Stone and draw another card. It can also help with our combo Mystic Forge when we are stumbling a bit from the top of our library. We then have 2 Maze Mind Tomes, which essentially we're going to be scrying a lot of the time. But if we end up stalling out, for example, and we don't have many cards in hand, we can scry. We can draw with the Maze Mind Tome as well. And then when it has 4 counters, you get to exile it and you gain 4 life. This can be quite a combo as well with Paradox Engine, since we can scry the Maze Mind Tome or draw with it and then cast a spell, maybe the one we draw off the Maze Mind Tome, and then we get to untap it along with all of our other permanents as well. So a lot of synergy there. So before we go on to the 3-drop slot, these 4 drops are really important. These 2 drops, sorry, because they allow us to curve into our 4 drops really well. We really want a 2-drop and a 4-drop. They're quite essential. Either Hedron Archive, Khan the Great Creator, or Mystic Forge is what we are looking for. But failing that, if we don't have a 4-drop or we don't have a 2-drop, and maybe we've taken 1 mulligan, since we're probably going to mulligan if we don't have them, then we have 3 Power Stone Shards. And the reason we have this is because once you're starting to combo, getting multiple Power Stone Shards down can really start to stack the amount of colourless mana that you can generate per one. If you get 2 or 3 of these down, they're just generating an insane amount of mana for what you're paying. But we're not running a full playset since we need to make room in the list somehow. So moving on to the 4-drop slot, we have 2 Hedron Archives. These are something you could run in more Hedron Archives. You can go up to 3 or 4. I'm deciding only to run 2 because I don't think they're that essential. I'd rather be ramping into Karn or Mystic Forge instead. And I've sort of split it up between Karn, Scion, and Urza as well, just so for some extra card advantage and board presence if we require that. So like I said, I just sort of went over it, but Karn, Scion of Urza was excellent in its standard appearance, and yeah, it's essentially going to provide us some card advantage, allowing us to draw 2 cards over 2 turns if that's what we want, or we can create a 0/0 colorless construct artifact creature token that gets +1/+1 for each artifact you control. So this allows us to go real big, real fast, since we can essentially create a massive construct with the amount of colorless permanents and artifacts we're going to have in play. Karn the Great Creator is he is the only win con in the list. There's a few other win cons up the top of the curve, but he's how we're going to grab our main win con, and he's how we access our sideboard. So the main thing that Karn's going to be grabbing, he's either going to be fixing the combo for us by grabbing a Forsaken Monument, a Paradox Engine, or a Mystic Forge. We have one of each of them in the sideboard. Let me just find them for you. Paradox Engine, Mystic Forge, and Forsaken Monument. Or he's going to be grabbing our most enjoyable win con, I'd say. Not the most consistent, but the most enjoyable, which is Aetherflux Reservoir. So once we start to combo off, we end up just casting a ton of spells. So once we draw into our 2nd or 3rd Karn, we can then go grab Aetherflux Reservoir out of our board, play that, and zap our opponent for 50 damage, since we're going to be gaining so much life off of that. The other 4-drop we have, and part of the combo we went over, is Mystic Forge. Essential to the list. It's how we are able to draw so many cards each turn. We have Forsaken Monument, which is just outstanding. A new card as well, a legendary artifact. Colorless creatures you control get +2/+2. Not all that relevant. The most relevant bit is whenever you tap a permanent for colorless, you add an additional colorless. So it essentially doubles our mana in a lot of places. So it doesn't double Power Stone Shard if it's tapping for more than one. It just adds an additional one. And the same with Hedron Archive. But Guardian Idol, Mind Stone, and all of our lands are doubled. So the most ideal play for us is to go Mind Stone into Karn the Creator into Forsaken Monument. That seems to, it's a really good line you can jump up. Or you could go Mind Stone, Mystic Forge, Forsaken Monument, and then you're just going to draw a ton of cards off your deck. Or Paradox Engine. The curve in this is pretty insane. We're only running 1 Paradox Engine in the main, essentially because we only want it when we are ready to combo, and we essentially are running 5 because Karn the Great Creator can grab 1 out of our sideboard as well, so we don't want to end up with tons of 5-drops in our hand. And the rest of our bombs in the list, if we can't get our Aetherflux Reservoir for whatever reason, sometimes we just want to cast a massive Ulamog, if we can get onto that, the Ceaseless Hunger. I'm sure most people already know what Ulamog does by now. A 10-drop indestructible legendary creature Eldrazi. And whenever we cast him, we get to exile 2 permanents on cast. So even if our opponent's being really brave and they're playing counter magic, Ulamog is still going to get through that. And essentially when he when he attacks, the defending player exiles the top 20 cards of their library. So it does not take long for Ulamog to close the game. Normally when you're casting an Ulamog, if your opponent hasn't got an answer to it straight away, they're conceding. Or even if they have, because you've just 3-for-1'd your opponent. Very difficult to recover from. The other big boy we're playing is Ugin the Spirit Dragon. Seen play in Modern and other formats as well. An 8-mana legendary planeswalker, Ugin, the brother of Nico Bolas. And he starts on 7 loyalty, and we can +2 to deal 3 damage to any target. We can pick off them creatures or to shoot our opponent's life total. And the main reason we're playing him is for the -X. And we get to exile each permanent with converted mana cost X or less that has 1 or more color. You will notice from our list, it does not hit a single thing of ours. So it's a one-sided Wrath that can sometimes come out on turn 5, sometimes turn 6. Just super early. If we get Forsaken Monument down on turn 4, for example, Ugin is coming out turn 5. That is if we have him in hand. And then just some more card advantage as well. On top of all of that, we're playing Ugin the Ineffable, a planeswalker that makes all of our colorless spells cost 2 less. This is essentially ramp for us. This is insane. Our Mind Stones, our Guardian Idols are all free now. We can create a bit of card advantage by creating a 2/2 Spirit, exiling the top card of our library, or we can destroy a permanent that's 1 or more colours. So Ugin, very flexible in the list, just as an extra bit of removal and interaction, since you'll notice most of the list does not have interaction, and we're trying to go as fast as possible and combo as fast as possible. Ugin, Ulamog, and, well, both Ugins are sort of in there as just a way to slow our opponent down or bring us back from the brink of death. So the mana basis is a little bit complex, and I'll briefly go over it. We have essentially, one of the main reasons to play Colourless is that you have such utility in your land basis. There's so much you can do with it because you're not constricted by having to run dual lands and tap lands, and your mana base is never going to be inconsistent. It's just a matter of drawing as many lands as we can. So because of that, we are able to run utility lands. So we have the voids as well, which are, I'm just going to go over them slightly. 4 of these, they get to scry 1 when they enter. Fantastic. Like, this is a brilliant land to play. Running 1 scavenger ground, I don't know if this wants to go up to 2. The best thing about this mana basis is you can tech it for the meta as well. If there's tons of graveyard, you could cut a load of I don't know, radiant fountains and go up in the amount of scavenger grounds. That's absolutely fine. Just tech it for whatever you are feeling at the time. We're then running 4 Radiant Fountains. I would argue some of the most important lands in this deck, just because we're not running much interaction low on the curve, it is essential that we survive till turn 4 and 5 when we can cast our big boys. And Radiant Fountain, that passive life gain, sometimes does quite a bit. Then we have Mobilized District, an alternative way of closing the game. If for whatever reason we have no action happening, we can animate the Mobilized District and attack our opponent down. Or we could use this as a blocker if we wanted to defend a Planeswalker, or we were taking lethal on the ground. We have Interplanar Beacon as well. It's not the mana's not going to be relevant on it, but the most relevant bit is whenever you cast a Planeswalker spell, you gain 1 life. And we are running quite a few Planeswalkers. We're actually running 12 Planeswalkers in the list. So yeah, this is going to gain us quite a bit of life from time to time. Another absolutely essential part of the mana basis is Cryptic Caves, which can draw us a card if we have 5 or more lands. We have to sacrifice it, but you don't really care about sacrificing it once you have 5 or more lands, because you're going to have tons of mana rocks available to you. We also have Crawling Barrens, which I believe is a new card as well. You can pay 4 mana to put 2+1/+1 counters on it, and it can become a 0/0 elemental creature until end of turn. So you can put the counters on it without animating it if you are hesitant of your opponent having a removal spell. Or if we have a ton of mana that we're not using, we could just pump it into the Crawling Barrens and make a massive creature and attack our opponent down in 1 or 2 swings. Up next is Cascading Cataracts. This is essentially in there for one reason. It's Golos in the sideboard. This gives us the ability to, if we ever tutor for Golos, we are able to activate this to add all 5 colours of mana in any combination, and then we can activate Golos's activated ability if that's what we want to do. If we're completely out of cards, Khan might go and grab us Golos. It just comes up from time to time, but we're running 1 of these just in case we ever do want to activate that. We're also running Buried Ruins, which is a land that allows us to sacrifice it to return an artifact from our graveyard to our hand. Pretty simple. If our opponent blows up our Mystic Forge, a Paradox Engine, or even if we want to get back a Mind Stone or something, we can get it back with this. Blast Zone, another absolutely brilliant land in the mana basis. It can act as removal, taking out them early pesky creatures, or we can put some extra counters on it since we can generate tons of mana and blow up essentially any permanent that our opponent has. We're then running 1 Arch of Araska. We don't normally hit the City's Blessing, but this is definitely possible, which is why we're just running the 1 of it, and it's just a really good card advantage engine in the late game. So the sideboard, I'll just go over the toolbox sideboard real quick. We're running 1 of Torment's Crypt, which allows us just to exile the graveyard. This is really good because it's 0 mana. So on turn 4 or turn 3, if we go Mind Stone or Guardian Idol into 4 mana Khan the Creator, and our opponent's about to combo off the graveyard for whatever reason, we could get this for 0 costed, play this, and then if our opponent tries to combo, we can sacrifice that. If we do have time, the preferred option is Grafdigger's Cage. I don't know what's up with the mouse. A 1 mana artifact that creature cards in graveyards and libraries can't enter the battlefield, and players can't cast spells from graveyards or libraries. So this stops like Neoform, this stops Aetherworks Marvel as well. Really, really relevant. Yeah, just pretty good. Grafdigger's Cage. Sorcerer's Spyglass, not much to be said on that. It's going to stop any activated abilities that might be annoying or pesky. Aetherflux Reservoir is there for the reason we said. It's one of our win cons. Lithoform Engine is in the list because it's a fun one of. This might come up from time to time. We might want to copy some of our abilities or copy some of our permanents. We have so much mana in the list that this could always pop up as something interesting to do. But essentially, we're not really grabbing this. This is just, if you're maybe getting a bit bored of the same old Aetherflux Reservoir, then you might want to go and grab a Lithoform Engine and do something interesting instead. Like I said, we have the Mystic Forge as a one-of, just for Khan as well. We have Golos, like I said in the list. It's just a way to tutor for a land and to add some mana to cast some spells to the top of our library. Forsaken Monument, another bit of the combo, or not specifically the combo, but it allows us to accelerate so fast. Paradox Engine, part of the combo. Godfarer's Statue is really fun if we get it down early, making our opponent's spells cost 2 more, each one of them. This is just going to lock your opponent out the game really, really fast, and it is a very, very slow win con. So maybe our opponent's playing control, or opponent's trying to combo themselves, then Godfarer's Statue might be able to stop them from doing so. Meteor Golem is a way to allow us to answer any permanent that's on the board, any non-land permanent that hasn't got indestructible. So maybe our Ugins or Ulamogs, we haven't got an Ulamog, or our Ugin can't hit it. Let's say it's colorless for some reason. Meteor Golem is going to fill that role. We also have a Platinum Angel as well, which is more relevant than a lot of the other cards in our sideboard. A 7 mana 4/4 flyer that reads, you can't lose the game and your opponents can't win the game. So if your opponent has near to no interaction, Platinum Angel is going to be a really good key card to just stop our opponent from winning. It can lock them down for 2-3 turns so we can assemble the combo ourselves. And then we're running Stone Coil Serpent. Stone Coil Serpent is in for a similar reason to Tormund Script. It can block flyers, and it can be any amount of power that we want, and it has trample, so it's really good for that reason. But like Tormund Script, it can be cast for 0 mana, so if we just need to gain some life with Forsaken Monument, or if we just want a 2/2 body, we could get it with Forsaken Monument, play it for 0, and it'd be a 2/2 because of the Monument. So that's the list. It's also worth noting, it's quite important, that Khan the Great Creator, his passive ability comes up a little bit in this format. With Aetherworks Marvel being in the format, this just shuts this down completely, and we can get to this for our opponent. So yeah, it's probably worth mentioning that we do play a few games where that does come up, and I failed to mention it there, but yeah, this is definitely relevant. So yeah, if you guys are enjoying the look of the list, then make sure you stay around until the end of the video. We'll be back with a wrap up with how it sort of did, an overall view of it, cards that stood out and cards that maybe could be changed. But yeah, if you guys are feeling in the mood, maybe drop the video a like and subscribe if you can be asked. If not, don't worry, or maybe just save it for the end of the video and see how you feel. But yeah, I will catch you guys again in the wrap up. Okay, we get to go first, and yep, this hand looks brilliant. Get to go, we're on the play as well, and we get to go Guardian Idol into Khan. I think we're gonna save the Void, since I don't know what we want at this point. Okay, so our opponent's ramping. Gotta hope that we can do it better than them. So, Khan next turn, I wonder what we're gonna get. We're either gonna get Mystic Forge or Paradoxical Engine. Not quite sure. Hopefully if our opponent's ramping into Ugin, it's not going to affect us too much. Looks like Nissa might be inbound though. Don't need another Ugin. Do we want to just double ramp here? I think we get down Khan. If our opponent doesn't have Nissa, then we are golden. Probably getting, I'd imagine, Paradox Engine. Should allow us to get down all of our ramp. Why is Meteor Golem stuck there? Not quite sure. Yeah, let's get Paradox Engine. We run more Mystic Forges in the main, so it's more likely we'll draw one of them. Yep, Nissa, so Khan down here. Really gotta hope to top deck a land here. Land it is.
So just looking for Mystic Forge now, and we might be able to go infinite. I'm taking a little bit of damage here. Hopefully we'll gain some life back. It's quite nice. Okay, so we start with Paradox Engine. Right. What is the best sequence to do this with? I guess let's just get our ramp out there first. Sorry, QQ. I guess let's get down my Maze Stone Tome so we can draw with it. Let's draw. Let's draw again. I think we're just gonna cast this to get one more draw before we cast Ugin. I guess we won't be able to cast Ugin either way. Let's keep one of these. So very close to going off, but unfortunately not that close. So we're a bit off of casting Ugin. We'll pass the turn and see what our opponent can do. But essentially, if we top deck a Mystic Forge now, we are golden. I'm taking 9. Just gonna go. Okay, so we have 2, 4, 6, 7, 8. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 15, 16 mana available to us. 17, 18. So we'll see what we scry first. Mobilize District, put that on the bottom. 18, yep. So I guess we'll just play out our hand. Let's go to QQ. Let's target 2 of these. Let's float all our mana. God, this deck takes a little bit of time to navigate. So Ulamog's going to resolve. We can even draw first. So if we draw like a mana rock. Karn. I think Karn allows us to go infinite now. So we'll go get Mystic Forge. Then we shall QQ. Just gotta keep remembering to QQ. So QQ. And we need to full control here. For some reason that missed it, but hopefully we'll be fine. So we will not activate that, we will allow this to resolve. Full control again. Again, we'll allow this to just resolve now. Yeah, and I think we've got it here. So now we shall activate Mystic Forge. Exile the top card. And we shall activate again. So we're very close to stumbling. but I think we'll be okay. Especially since Khan allows us to draw again. We're just generating a lot of mana. Our Mind Stone will hopefully draw us out of it if we don't hit, for example, like now. If we get 2 non-land permanents with our Mystic Forges like this, then our Mind Stone will allow us to draw out of that. And Khan and Ugin will also allow us to do similar things, so we shall tick up first. Essentially what we're going to do now is we're going to go through until we find another Khan, the creator, and then we're going to go get Aetherflux Reservoir out of the board. Oh, I actually forgot to activate that. That is unfortunate. So I guess we will draw first. QQ. So it does take a while. I'm probably gonna speed through this actually. So there is one of our Khans. Opponent gave it to us. So here we go and get Aetherflux Reservoir. QQ. We don't need to activate Mystic Forge. And we should have cast enough spells. There we go, 52. And opponent's going to scoop it up. In comes the laser cannon. So the combo takes a while to go off, but once you have it, it's pretty fun. It's satisfying to keep going for your entire deck. Okay, we get to go first, and this hand is quite slow, but we are on the play with 2 mana ramp. So if we top deck a land, we get to go into Khan, and then Forsaken Monument will hopefully let us reach these Ugins pretty fast. 2 Ugins is pretty poor at this point though, but the rest of the hand's okay. Just really need to find another land. So we can do things the slow way, but another land next turn would be great. See like a Burning Tree Emissary here. Paradise Druid. Okay. So you can play Power Stone Shard. It's more mana efficient to do so as well. Really wanting to top deck land there, that might punish us. If we top deck land next turn, we might just play Forsaken Monument. So our opponent's probably on the opponent's on the combo list. I can't remember the name of it. Okay, so land. So we need to hope that we can sort of survive one more turn. Our opponent could very easily have the combo here though. They did draw just like 7 cards. Looks like our opponent does not. So I think we can shut down the combo from here, or buy us enough time that we can get Ugin out. I'm just going to opt. Okay. So we want to tap for 2. I haven't tapped the Power Stone Shard in case we draw one. I don't know what we're going to be getting. We're probably just going to be shutting down our opponent's combo for 1 turn though. Might just go for a Graph Digger's Cage. I think that's probably going to be the right shout. Yeah. Grafdigger's Cage is enough to shut it down, and then next turn we're probably getting something else if our opponent doesn't kill Khan, and then into Ugin. Okay, so we're going first. This hand is a keep. Just looking for lands. So we get to go Guardian Idol into Hedron Archive. And then hopefully the Mystic Forge will help us dig deeper. So we're at the point as well where we could just Ugin next turn. I don't think we're going to. Forsaken Monument seems correct. See if we find a 2-mana artifact off the top. Nope. So we might have to just Ugin next turn. So Servant of the Conduit. I assume our opponent's on Aetherworks Marvel, so we don't want to waste too much time. Since I don't know if comboing is going to be enough to stop this. Can we combo from here? So this only adds 3 mana. So this is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So let's see if this is enough. So we go get Paradox Engine. And I think this is going to be just enough. We still cast Ugin. So Ugin will untap all of our permanents. We'll get 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 back. So I think since we've activated Mystic Forge, we'll do this first. We'll -3. And we shall proceed to combo if at all possible. I don't know why I did that. That was a big mistake. We'll see if we still have that available. Yeah, we still do, but that was a misplay. Gonna see if we can still combo through the misplay. So we shall keep this one. Our opponent's just going to scoop it up there. So a bit of a misplay, accidentally activating the Mystic Forge when we were supposed to play the Mystic Forge off the top of our list, and it would have given us double activations of it. So we almost certainly would have been able to find our payoffs. But nevertheless, we got there. Okay, we get to go first. No 2-mana ramp, but we do have 3-mana ramp, and we have part of our combo piece. So we're going to keep. We're going to scry turn 1 to see if we can find some 2-mana ramp. Just kind of want to hit lands and ramp here, because if we get Forsaken Monument down with Paradox Engine, we should be pretty good. And I think we can't afford to bottom lands. Depends how fast our opponent is. They're going to ramp. Okay, so we're against Elves, so the answer to how fast they are is pretty fast. I'd imagine they have us dead in 2 turns. Maybe. I say 2, maybe it's 1. Or it might be 1 actually. Fortunately, we haven't drawn a land. I think this is gonna leave us dead. I'd imagine they have a collected company end step. I think we'll just play Tome and activate Tome, though the odds of winning are not very great. Yeah, opponent's good gamed us already. There was the land. Let's see if our opponent would have killed us this turn anyway. Yeah, collected company. Yep. And our opponent just activates Shepherd here and destroys us. Let's see how much damage they can deal. So even if we would have top deck lands and played Forsaken Monument instead, we would not have been in the win. This is quite a good start from our opponent. Llanowar rolls into Marwyn, into the Elite, into Collected Company on the same turn. Pretty strong start from Elves. Opponent's going full out. Oh, we're going to Crater Hoof us. Fair enough. Oh. So, just enough damage to kill us. This hand is pretty slow. I think we're going to mulligan it. Yeah, we'll keep this. Forsaken Monument is quite essential to have in our hand. And I think we're going to... The deck yields so much utility because all of your lands are colourless. So unfortunately this is not a Hedron Archive, which is like a 4-drop to curve Guardian Idol into. Mystic Forge is there, and I think we're going to get down the Mystic... no, we'll get down the Power Stone Shard. Just so we have more mana. So our opponent looks like they're on lifelink, so we've got to try and race them. Fortunately, they're setting up quite a bit, since we only normally need 3 or 4 turns. So yeah, it's not as mana efficient, but I think we should get down Mystic Forge actually. So next turn we'll play Forsaken Monument, and then hopefully the turn after that we will be able to go off. Hopefully we don't die to this Ajani's Primate first of all. We might have to activate the Guardian Idol to chump with it for a turn. So we kind of want to draw that. So let's play, and then got to survive 1 attack step here, and then we'll be able to gain some life back. Just looking for our other part of the combo, Paradoxical Engine or 4 mana Khan, so we can go get it. So yeah, we're going to only have 1 turn, I reckon, here. So we're taking 11 here and falling to 5. Yeah, let's just draw. Okay, so probably going to pay a life to see what the top card is first. Just another land. Okay. So we've got to gain enough life here to survive, and then activate our Guardian Idol. I think that's okay. And then we shall block with Guardian Idol and hopefully survive 1 more turn. And hopefully that'll be enough. So let's activate. Close to actually trading with the other Ajani's Primate. So falling to 2, we gotta hope to combo this turn. And I think we're gonna draw to try and find this. Mind Stone on top. Is Ulamog enough? I think Ulamog is actually enough. Can we can spend 2 and then it practically pays for itself, Mind Stone. And then Ulamog will gain us some life and exile the 2 Ajani's Primates. And then opponent gains a load of life. And then we'll play this, but I think we're just going to bottom Hedron Archive. We shall activate Forge. Guardian Idol off the top. And Ugin next turn looks really good. Ugin should close the game now. See if our opponent can come back from this. Looks like maybe not. So the center's tapped, but we'll have a look what's on top. We shall -1. And then attack for 12. Opponent's being very kind and letting us play through this. The amount of lands that just came off the top of their deck. I thought there was more in a row than that. But I guess that's what they're looking for. And opponent's going to scoop it up quite rightly. Maybe if we played for our turn a bit quicker, they would have let us play that. Okay, on the play. Yeah, this hand looks okay. We're really hoping to find some combo pieces, but we have some ramp. Just digging for combo pieces here. 4 mana Khan would be great. But at the very least, hopefully Ugin will be enough at the top of the curve. It depends what we're against. So maybe Aetherworks Marble. Don't know if this is going to be fast enough against them. So it looks like our opponent's stuck on land while we have double Ugin. I wonder if we draw. If we next turn we can Ugin. I think we wait one more turn and Ugin since our opponent's stuck on 2 mana. And we'll just shoot that Servant if our opponent's stuck on land still. I guess we could have got in there for 2 damage, but the Garden Idol, I doubt it's going to be relevant. See if our opponent decides to concede here. I think they probably should play it out since Ugin's not our main win con. And if they hit Aetherflux Reservoir, if they hit Aetherworks Marble, it's not going to be too relevant if we have an Ugin. So the way our opponent can get out of it is by playing Aetherworks Marvel and then getting an Ulamog off the top. So if they get Ulamog off the top, they're going to exile 2 of our Planeswalkers. So we may as well play the least valuable Planeswalker. See what we get. So we get Ulamog or land. So our opponent's hopefully going to try and hit an Ulamog here. See if they hit a land. Opponent does not hit land, yeah. They sort of have to concede there since Khan's going to give us our Ulamog to exile their lands, and then they won't reach it. Yeah, this hand looks really fine. We get to curve Guardian Idol into Khan. Mind Stone. Don't think we need more ramp. Looks like we could be getting against mono red. That seems quite likely. So let's go get Forsaken Monument, since I think the life gain is going to be the most relevant. It will also allow us to sort of speed up. So it's quite likely that our opponent can kill Khan here. So land puts us in a good position. Hopefully we can take a hit here. And if we can Ugin away their board. It's like our opponent's going to give us one turn. Just going to hope this is enough. Because if we get to untap again with double mana, we should be able to gain enough life with Guardian Idol, Khan, and Hedron Archive. So our opponent's attempting to kill the Ugin. Guess we should play Guardian Idol actually. So if our opponent kills Ugin, it feels really bad since we have the second one. So they are going to be able to kill it. I think the second Ugin's going to be the back-breaking one. I think we can play this pays for itself. And if we tap 2, we'll have 2, 4, 6, 8 mana left. Oh, we'll actually have a bit more. And that's probably going to be the concession there. Back-to-back Ugins feels really bad against mono red, especially when you're ending on 25 life. Yeah, opponent's gonna scoop it up there. So we're on the draw, and I think we have to mulligan this away. We have too many of our late game cards and no early game ramp. This one looks a lot better. We're gonna put that Ulamog on the bottom. Want to find some ramp to bridge this gap. I guess we do want land. So we're going to play out Khan into Monument, which is a good way to close this gap. I think we're going to go for Mystic Forge.
My purpose is greater than myself.
Just so it's guaranteed card draw. See if our opponent can combo this turn. And they might have trouble, they're 1 energy short. Probably gonna look to do that next turn. Attack Khan down to 1. Don't need another Ugin. So I think it's really if we can untap here. Our opponent didn't gain the energy though. If we can untap here, we're in an okay position. So we can go and get Paradox Engine and then play out our hand and start untapping our permanents. I guess if Khan dies, we're not going to be able to do that. Our opponent hasn't had much interaction. We'll see if they've got a counterspell here. They do not. So another Ugin. So we're just a Paradox Engine short of comboing here. Though if we draw enough of these Power Stone shards, we might. Unfortunately, we can't cast this. So our opponent has a turn. I think Ulamog should be enough to close the game. See if our opponent can gain enough energy and rip something good off the top. It's likely our opponent pays no energy here, I think. Yeah, let's see if they can flip an Ulamog. I don't think we're just dead if they do flip one, since we have our own Ulamog. So they do hit the Ulamog. Let's see what they got. Let's see what they exile. Probably our Ugin and maybe Forsaken Monument. Oh, they're going for Mystic Forge and Forsaken Monument. Nice. Okay, so stopping our card draw and our mana production. So they're going to need a second Aetherworks Marble here. Let's have a look at what the top card is.
Truth lies beyond vision.
So we shall take our opponents and then attack in. Probably gonna draw. Just see what we draw. Do some more lands. I think we'll draw in our opponent's end step this time. I guess there's no reason to wait in case we find some mana ramp, which we do. So opponent, we need to find some combo pieces still, but we might just be able to win the game on the back of this Ulamog. So our opponent doesn't have any energy left to activate the Aetherworks Marble. Yep. So we managed to play through an activation and our opponent hit an Ulamog, though they were a bit slow at getting to the combo.
Howdy guys, thank you for sticking around till the end of the video. I hope you guys enjoyed the gameplay. Like I said at the beginning, this list is just insane. There's so much combo potential, and for me it's doing everything that I want to do. It's just drawing your entire library, you're just drawing cards, but you're doing it at such a fast rate. You're generating near infinite amounts of mana. The list was so much fun to play. I hope it's given you guys some ideas, or maybe you've been thinking about getting into this and this has now changed your mind, or maybe put you off altogether. Either way is good, because it means you're not going to have to use them wild cards, or you're more certain that you do want to use these wild cards. Something to note though, there is quite a few rares and mythics in this list, so if this is something you want to build, make sure you are certain that this is something you want to do. How did I think the list ran? Absolutely brilliantly. It was fantastic. Not something you can necessarily take to best of 3. You could try it, but the fact we have a toolbox sideboard makes our best of 1 game so much better than it's typically going to be for other decks. So if you're looking at doing some best of 1, then this, I reckon, is a pretty strong contestant. Ugin the Spirit Dragon is just as good as he's always been, and so is Ulamog. I was actually pleasantly surprised as well by how often we comboed off, because some combo lists require so many bits, like the Neoform combo. You actually saw in one of the games that Neoform just got completely shut down by our Grafdigger's Cage, and you have a lot of games like that where there's a tool in your sideboard that just like, nope, done opponent. If you cannot beat this card because it's best of 1, then you are not going to win this game. So you're definitely going to have a few nombo games like that, and then you're also going to have a few games like we played with Elves, where you just get absolutely smashed on turn 3 or 4 and you just can't set up enough. So maybe it's worth, I don't know, splashing white for some board wipes, or there is a colourless board wipe actually, which we could maybe get out of the board, or we could play some in the main. Could see play 1 in the board maybe if we're against that, but I wonder if it would even be fast enough. I think this is one of them decks that is just going to fold to super aggressive decks. But you saw with like Mono Red, Forsaken Monument, they had quite a strong start, and Forsaken Monument was able to grind them out. And then we took over with double Ugin the Spirit Dragon, bless them. They took down the first one quite valiantly, and we ended the game on something like 27 life with our second Ugin. So unfortunate for our opponent, but I don't see them being able to play through this. So I'd imagine this deck hoses most aggro and a lot of mid-range, and it's such a fast combo. With Khan, I think it kind of beats out Aetherflux Reservoir. If they don't have an answer to Khan the Great Creator, and people aren't an idiot like me and actually defend their Khan, then they're not going to be able to combo with Aetherflux Reservoir. That's just not going to be a thing. They're going to have to win fairly, and by the time they've even got close to winning fairly, we are taking over and comboing off. So, like, seriously, guys, I can't express how much I love this list. It's so fantastic. If you enjoyed it, expect more content for this to be coming up, because I'm definitely going to be making more videos with an almost identical list. I might change a few bits up, but I just love it so much. It's what I kind of want to... I want to, on the channel, put forward what I enjoy playing as much as some diverse content. So we're going to have some Control coming up, still testing out, is Control viable, and some more Paradox Forge combo. So if that's something you're interested in, remember to subscribe to the channel and keep an eye on it. If you enjoyed this video, please drop it a like, and let me know in the comments down below, what did you think? Did you think the list was good? Did you think it was too slow? Is there any changes you think you'd make? Are we going up on Paradox engines, or are we running none altogether and just running them in the sideboard so we're not getting clunked down in our hand? But like I said, let me know what you thought down in the comments below. And until next time, guys, stay safe.